hello, and welcome to the Voices of Madison Park podcast. I'm Zamil Gray, your host for this week.
And I'm Steven Thomas. We're both seniors at Madison Park Technical Vocational High School in the Media Arts program.
This is our third episode of season 1. If you missed our first 2 episodes, please watch it online.
I'm excited about this new episode.
Hey, in this week's episode, we have a special guest, 2-time Super Bowl winner, Rouson. Am I saying that right?
Rouson.
Lee Rouson.
Thank you for being on our show. We're excited to learn more about you and what you've done and what you continue to do.
And speaking of that, man, can you just, give our audience a brief description of yourself,
Yes, it's my pleasure. I'm from Greensboro, North Carolina. I was born in Elizabeth City. My parents immediately moved to New Jersey and were maids, cleaning this rich, successful real estate guy's house. And one night they was hanging out in New York City, and my father runs into Malcolm X. And Malcolm liked my dad. He was impressed, with his personality and his acumen and conversation. And so my father became one of his bodyguards and one of his confidants. And unfortunately, he had a new message that he was going to share with the whole world. One night at this place called the Audubon Ballroom, but he never gave that message because he was assassinated. And then my family was forced to leave New York that same night. So we moved back to North Carolina, to Greensboro, North Carolina. And I grew up in Greensboro, and then I was highly recruited. By my junior year in high school, I was one of the top 5 running backs being recruited throughout the country. I was recruited by Southern Cal, Colorado, Michigan State, Pitt, North Carolina, everybody. And so I chose Colorado. And had a big struggle there. But I made it through the struggle. And I was drafted by the football giants and was fortunate to be on 2 Super Bowl championship teams. And then I retired as a Cleveland Brown with Bill Belichick, was the head coach there. And then so I struggled. I had no idea what I was going to do. Like for 7 years, the NFL stood for the National Football League. Then after 7 years, it stood for not for long. Fortunately, it stands for newfound life. So I have a newfound life now. I'm a speaker, an inspirational speaker throughout the country, and I form mentorship programs throughout every high place in America. And I have an awesome family, and I'm really glad to be here.
That's great.
That's amazing to hear.
But let's talk about what's one of the tough, rough things that you went through during college time.
Well, can you imagine? I signed my name on a contract my senior year in high school, and I'm all fired up. I'm going 2,000 miles away from home. And, I'm singing this song, I'm going to Colorado. I'm going to get a bow ring on my finger. I'm going to, get my degree in business. I'm going to a bowl game. I'm going to, after my college career, making it to the NFL. I'm about my mama house. I had all my goals and my dreams set in front of me. And then 3 days after I signed my name on the contract, after I commit myself, I found out that Colorado was put on probation. No one communicated to me that Colorado was under investigation. They let me sign my name on a contract. And so it was struggle. It was a struggle in my life because for the first time, if somebody would ask me, "Who are you?" Really? I didn't have any idea. I had no clue about my identity in my life because my identity was in being a football player, and that wasn't working. And it was even before that, how everybody treated me like I was black. Like most of the black people, most of the white people, man, you black, man. You better walk black, talk black, smell black, dress black. You better be black. But I'm like, what black should I be? Because there was all different kind of blacks.
Right.
And so those areas are part of who I am. It's a part of my identity, my nationality. I'm African American. I'm chocolate. Okay. I was a football player for the most part of my life, even though I don't play football anymore. But my name, Lee Rouson, has a brand, a reputation, and I began to struggle. But it was the best thing that happened to me in my life. Because when I realized I didn't know who I was, really, I was at a place in the journey of our lives to where I wanted to know. I really wanted to know. I got sick and tired of trying to be somebody who I wasn't.
Mm.
Letting other people define me in all kind of ways. And I began to recognize my need to know who I am really.
And you also really stood on the morals when you apparently you have one of the 4 NFL players to fight against the NFL in the court of law and win.
Yes, I was one of 4. Actually, it was 10 pro football players who became plaintiffs in the court case for free agency. And I was fortunate to be one of the 4 ball players to make a stand. And it was really tough. I mean, I was left out of the New York Giants team photo. I wasn't invited to any of the events in the community. I think I ticked off a few people, especially the owner for the Giants. You're not gonna do this to my team. My father started the NFL. But I wasn't trying to do anything to the Giants. I was just fighting for freedom. I got the opportunity to fight for free agency. That case was going on. I had the opportunity to prove that, again, in terms of the antitrust laws in America, every man or woman has the inalienable right to work for whomever he or she wants to work for. That right wasn't in effect in the NFL because they had a collective bargaining agreement. So as long as the ball players and the owners collectively bargained and agreed on the draft, it was legal. But now we decertified from the union. There was no collective bargaining agreement. And the NFL started making different kind of moves. They produced a new type of free agency. They had a new rule called Plan B, where 30 ball players would be protected. And the rest of the 15 or whatever number of ball players on the roster free to go to any team they wanted to go to. But they protected me for the first 2 years. They wouldn't let me play, but they protected me. So I was like, well, if you don't let me play, then let me be a free agent so I can go play someplace else. If you don't want to start me, let me go someplace else. Well, I was protected. And that's one reason why I won. Because I was one of those guys who was protected, but they didn't pay me and they didn't play me.
Wow.
And talking about how the NFL contracts its players, do you see a difference in like the signing bonus or just the start of how NFL players get paid?
Oh, yeah.
From back then?
Oh, yes. Brother. You got backup quarterbacks making $10 million.
Right.
Backup quarterbacks. Oh, it changed everything. And it continues to change. Look what's going on in college football. I mean, it's a business.
Everything's corporate at this current moment, you know?
It really, really is. And a lot of these athletes, you know, I have a great hope, need to prepare for the change, especially these young kids, you know, coming out of high school and entering into college and making money. I mean, making money, making big money and having a certain type of brand value. So you need to protect that. You need to develop it, to learn how to operate in your own life. It's a lot of responsibility.
Now, reversing time back a little bit, what got you into football, would you say?
Well, I think when I came out of my mama, I was like, football.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just, again, it's something you can't really pinpoint because it was just probably a natural thing. I loved every aspect of the game. I love the mental, the physical, the emotional, and the spiritual part of it.
Now, this reminds me of something that you said in an interview or so, where you talked about how you didn't win the Super Bowl, but it felt more of like an achievement and how much work you put into it and how much blood, sweat, and tears made you get to that award. So how did it feel to win the Super Bowl not once, but twice in 2 different teams?
You know, I really appreciate that question because as you can see this ring right here, see this one right here? This was Super Bowl 21. And this is against the Denver Broncos, right? I will never forget, brothers, the moment that the zeros came on the clock and it said Giants 39, Broncos 20. In that moment, I realized, I didn't have the ring on yet, but in that moment, I realized that I was a Super Bowl champion. You know why? Because I'm cute. I'm just kidding. Because I never gave up, brothers. And when I share this with other people, I'm like, think about it. When you give up what's waiting for you, you'll never get it. So I go, listen, no matter what goes on, don't give up. And that's hard and it's difficult. But because I never gave up, and I came that close to giving up many times in my life, going through all kind of stresses and struggles and conflicts, all kind of stuff. But because I didn't give up, in that moment, I knew in my heart and my mind that I was a Super Bowl champion.
And those struggles that you went through during that time, would you say that would be because your connection with God, and even after your career, how you deepen your connection with Him, stuff like that?
Yeah, you know what? I really appreciate that question, brother. You kind of like surprised me about that, because that's what I talked about in the beginning of this conversation. You know, not knowing who I am. See, the one thing about the Lord, right? The one thing about Jesus, there's a scripture that says He thought no thing of Himself. He didn't think He was better than you, and you wasn't better than Him when He was in this human suit. He only thought truly of Himself. When I learned to think truly of myself, not that I'm not comparing myself to you or anybody else. You're not better than me, I'm not better than you. I'm just going to be truly who I am. When I began to recognize my need to be who I am really, then I knew who I was. And when, like let's say, I leave here today, right, and go to a restaurant, walk in there and get a little sandwich or something like that, and I got my rings on, right, because I was with y'all, hanging out with y'all today, and somebody sees the bling bling and they be go, "Who are you?" And I'd be like, "I'm a child of the King." You know? So my point is, I know who I am. I'm just a child. I'm just a child of God. And in that relationship, I got it going on, man. Doesn't matter what happens, good, bad, right, wrong, happy, sad, crazy, easy, difficult. I'm not going to get caught up in it. And the emotional part of that, yeah, I will experience anxiety for a second, sadness, happiness, anger, but I'm not going to enter into the prison of it. It's just a God-given part. When you know who you are, when you trust the love of God, you don't get caught up in it, man. You can be anxious, right, for nothing.
Right.
And you can be angry just for a second. You can be happy just for a minute. You can be sad just for a season. Then you got to let it go and move the chain. Isn't that what we say in football? Say move the chain. Move the chain. I'm sorry, from North Carolina, I don't say move. We say move the chains. Just got to keep moving forward.
And
sound like a George Foreman story.
for sure.
What you know about George Foreman, brother? I love it.
Know a thing or two.
I know that's right.
But this also reminds me of something you said about how you were very, at once, very like selfish of yourself on the field, and how a certain player got up to you and told you that it's not about you or anyone else. Can you elaborate at that?
Man, you really looked me up, didn't you? I love it.
I'm on it.
So, like, some teams, I wonder what teams are going to do this year in the NFL. Who are going to they're going to go trade for or make a deal for a veteran to help them. Just like the Eagles, they just got a ball player, I think Bayard. They just got a defensive back from Tennessee, right?
Yeah.
That might be the best move for them. So the Giants made that move back in the day. So this other Super Bowl ring I got on my finger, what you're talking about was right before the Super Bowl 25. And his name was Everson Walls. We got him from the Cowboys. And I was upset, man. I was ready to quit. I was ready to leave. I was going to my family was in a hotel in Florida. We get ready to play the Buffalo Bills in the Super Bowl 25. And that was the year that I was blackballed by the Giants. I had 0 carries.
Mm-hmm.
Again, all the things I shared with you guys that I went through. And at the meeting, when I realized I wasn't going to run the ball, I got up, picked up chairs, started cursing the coach out and threw stuff. I was nuts. I went crazy, man. I said, I'm out of here, man. I went out to go get in my rental car, and all of a sudden, hey, Ruru. And it was the voice of Everson Walls. And he was just that kind of leader on the team. He treated everybody like you was the best thing since sliced bread. He didn't like, oh man, you a bench warmer. I ain't got nothing to say to you. He wasn't that kind of dude, man. We had guys like that on our team, man. They just respected everybody and loved everybody, man. Love was a verb to them. It just wasn't how you feel. It was action. And when he said it, I lost it. I said, all the anger and the bitterness and the sadness and the anxiety that I didn't let go, that I kept in me. And I didn't know that I was a prisoner of it, came out. But he didn't say, yo, man, let's go get a drink, man. Don't worry about it. Let's just cover up that pain, right? Like most people do. Mm. He got in my face. He like spitting in my face. He said, let me tell you something right now. This ain't about you. You're not going to stop me. I've never won a Super Bowl. You're not going to stop me and this team from winning the Super Bowl. Your time going to come. You understand me, Rue? Step out of this right now. See, that was some tough love right there. Mm-hmm. You see, the real love, right? It may hurt for a second, but the reason why it does is because it's getting rid of something that's in your heart or your mind that don't belong there. Mm-hmm. That brother loved on me, man. And I'm going to tell you, in that moment right there, all of that bitterness, that anger, that hurt, and that frustration, the pain that was in me, it was gone. Mm-hmm. And I began to realize only that type of love can do that, man. Right. Mm-hmm. And so I went to the hotel to see my wife and my kids. And I'm gonna tell you, man, it was like I was just getting clean, man, because the tears just rolling down my face. It was like all that stuff that was in me was just coming out through my tears, right? And my kids and my wife, they just thought I was happy to see them. I couldn't talk. I didn't let them know what happened, So I hugged them and then I just left. And then I get a phone call from the chaplain for the Giants. It says, Lee, for the first time in the history of the NFL, we're going to have a ball player representing each team that's going to share their testimony, that's going to give their story about what's going on in their life, as you mentioned, with God. Mm-hmm. And we picked you, Lee. And I was like, why they go pick me for? I'm just a double-minded hypocrite right about now. Mm-hmm. But that was my story that I gave. Yeah. I've been a double-minded hypocrite. Double-minded. Yeah.
That reminded me of something else when you said, it's like when you felt like you was a half a person, split in certain things, and how God came and helped you with that at moments in time and stuff like that. Mm. So
that's what happens when you say, help me. But if you don't say help me, it's like you got a husk. Mm-hmm. You got a covering over your mind and your heart. I don't need no help from nobody. I ain't asking God to help me. I ain't asking my boy to help me. I ain't asking my whatever to help me. Mm-hmm. I can do it myself. And a lot of people just keep that husk on. We keep the pride on us, man. We don't ask for help.
Now, as we get into more of the lighthearted things, how did it feel to get a touchdown? If I remember correctly, the quarterback name was Sims, something like that.
He's still on CBS. He's still around. Phil Sims.
Yep. How it feels to, get your touchdowns from him and just score in front of just a big crowd.
So for whoever's listening, it felt really good to score my first touchdown against the Eagles. Mm. And I spiked it.
Why's that? Yeah.
Because I always said, my first touchdown, I'm going to spike it. I'm going to get my spike in, right? Because the rule was then, like, if you spike the ball, you don't get to keep it. That changed. But then, so I said, I'm going to spike my first ball. All the other touchdowns I get, I'm going to keep it. I'm going to act like I done did it before, right? Mm. So I get to keep my ball. And so that first ball, I don't have my first touchdown ball. Because when I spiked it, I didn't get to keep it. But when we look at it on films, they do this count, right?
Mm-hmm.
This measures what kind of spike you did. So when you spike it, and then everybody starts counting, 1,001, 1,002, 1,003. If your ball's in the air when it's 1,003, nice. That was a nice spike right there. Mm-hmm. But if you just spiked it and then just like dribble it over, like, oh man, ain't no spike, man. So I had to get my first spike in.
So we know that you played against a bunch of teams in the NFL. You played in the NFL for a while. So we want to know, what was your favorite stadium to play at, and which team was your favorite to play against?
You guys are awesome, man. That's a really cool question right there. My favorite stadium and team was RFK in Washington. They play the Redskins. I know that's not their name now.
The Commanders.
But I'm talking about the past, so I can say Redskins. So when we played the Redskins, let me tell you something right now. That was an intimate experience. The stadium is it's like the fans, they're like here's the field right here, here's the benches where the ball players are. The fans are right there.
Right behind the bench.
Right behind the bench. Right there.
Okay.
And you be, boo, number 22. We're not worried about you today. You talking smack. And they just thought they were gonna whip us. Only lost to the Redskins when I was there one time. And so that was my favorite place to play RFK and win. But I did lose there once, and that was the worst feeling ever.
Hey.
They're just tripping behind you, just talking.
Oh yeah, just talking. It was crazy, man. It was, but it was fun, man. But you just use that as fuel,
Right. You just keep using it,
Mm-hmm.
Hey. But I wanted to know, because you have 2 Super Bowl rings, 2 Super Bowl, championships. I want to know which one for you. Which one of those champagnes tasted the sweetest?
Another great question. Man, I'm about to invest in you guys' future. So this bling bling right here, see the Lombardi Trophy?
Right.
It's the champagne. Even though this right here is not the champagne, but this right here is the real money. Because of how my life changed, how I handle it. But this was the champagne because I broke a Super Bowl record.
Mm-hmm.
I had the most all-purpose yards ever in a Super Bowl. So I was the kickoff returner. I had the longest run as a running back, 18-yard run. I had 27, a few pass receptions. My longest was 27 yards to set up the go-ahead touchdown. So again, my kickoff return yardage. I'm a big old country boy, man, running back kicks, bro.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that was the champagne, man. It was fun. Now my record was broken by this dude named Rocket Ishmael, man. He played for Green Bay.
Right.
Hey, man.
After your career, how did it feel to attend certain alumni events and just get to know or see your brothers again after such a great career?
Excellent question, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I go to the alumni events.
Mm-hmm.
To experience remembering, being grateful for those memories that we had going to war together, man. Just having a unique life experience.
Mm-hmm.
And being able to share our lives now, since we're not in the NFL, and there's all kind of things going on, and some of those relationships, we're able to help each other. So it's amazing, man. And unfortunately, some guys never come back because of some of their experiences, man. And they're just like, I'm not going back there. I don't want to relive some of the memories that I had. So it's, you miss some guys, man.
Yeah. Some of those memories, would you say around that time, was there any racism you dealt with during that time, just going state to state, facing different teams? Did you go through any experience you could say?
I never, the only kind of ism I experienced was giantism. Doggone San Francisco fans, man, they crazy, man. Them Eagle fans, nuts. Cowboy fans, I don't even know how to describe them.
They a different breed.
I'm gonna tell you one thing
they
right
stand.
now.
They stand. My grandfather is a Cowboys. They stand on business.
They stand.
Yep. They do not play
I don't
around.
know what's up with them, man.
Yeah. They love their team.
They do. But I'm serious.
Default.
That's the only ism, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they were like, boo, Giants. You know, I'm like,
Every
okay, I
team
respect
hates
that.
The Giants, man. Every team hates the Giants.
I'm telling you, man, it's true.
So career, over, right? And you're like just talking to these kids from what we've seen, you know,
Motivational.
just connecting with them through crowds, podiums, and all that. What would you say you're doing currently in your life to really show these kids what they can do later and how they success?
Being a voice that opens their eyes. What can I say? How I present my story, how I present my opportunity in front of them. What does my voice say that opens their eyes so they can see for themselves? I'm not trying to change anybody. My wife taught me that a few years ago. She was like, you ain't gonna change me. I was like, haven't I learned that by now? And then I tried to get her back right. I was like, well, I'll tell you what. I'm done. I'm done trying to change you. When you talk to me, I'm just going to be like this. I'm just going to listen. But I'm going to tell you one thing. What I'm going to do along with that, I'm just going to love you with the love of God, right? So when you start changing, blame God. Say, yo, God, it's your love that came through my husband that's been changing me. So you can't say it's me when you're behind start changing.
Hey, but we learned a lot about you, you know, what you did during your career, before, after. We just want to know, you know, if you have any, since you are a motivational speaker, if you have any inspirational quotes or, you know, a message to give out to the kids of MP, you know, to, you know, guide them through struggles, you know, mishaps, this, that, and the third, you know, something like that.
Love to. First of all, don't wait for anybody to motivate you. My one football coach, Bill Parcells, I think he coached for the Giants, the Patriots, the Jets, and the Cowboys. So an interviewer said, Coach Bill, we heard that you're a motivator. He said, I'm not a motivator. If my players, if they're not already motivated, they're not going to play for me. What's my point? This is my point. You are responsible for motivating yourself. Now, I can give some inspirational type nuggets. Like my words, I tell kids my words are like money. If they're deposited in the bank account of your heart and your mind, anytime you want to, from the moment that you deposit that money, my words, you can withdraw them just like we do with money in a bank account, and then exchange them for what you need and what you want. And my main words that I present as money to my audience is, who are you really? Bill Belichick, right before I signed my first multi-million-dollar contract, I'm trying to sign it, right? I'm getting ready to put my name on it. And so Bill says, he goes, Lee. I was like, yes, coach? He goes, there are no shortcuts. I'm like, yes, coach? He goes, then why do people try to take them? So my point is most people try to take shortcuts in terms of identity. I'm black. I'm white. I'm rich. I'm poor. I'm a girl. I'm a boy. I'm a hustler, baby. I'm Batman. I mean, there's all kind of I ams. The type of identities a lot of us choose are human constructs, and they are shortcut. Who we are really, there is a limitlessness
to our identity. We will never ever fully become. Even though I share with you guys, if somebody asks me who are you, I say I'm a child of God. But that's who I am in terms of how I relate and how I live. Mm-hmm. I can live 100 lifetimes and not fully become. So I wanna challenge anyone to learn how to be who they are really. Mm. So my last words. So identity is both a noun and a verb. So we know a noun is a person, place, or thing. When you choose the person, the persona, the place, your heart and your mind, the thing, your character, and then that converges with the verb. We know a verb is action, right? So now once you know the noun of who you are, your personality, your person, and that your heart and your mind and your character, when that converges with becoming or acting like it, that's purposeful identity. There's no shortcut in that. Life is hard. And when you are being who you are really, it's a lot of hard work every day, over and over again. I'm 61 years old, and I'm going harder today than I've gone when I was 21. Because it's a journey. It's a life adventure. It's just not some kind of concept. It's just some kind of words that make you feel good, that you relate to other people and all this kind of stuff like that. Being who you are, it's tough. But it's the best tough that you can know. Because everybody's going to know some kind of tough. So those are my words of encouragement right there, brother.
That was great.
That's
amazing.
I think that's a perfect way to.
That's a perfect way to end it off.
Close it out, man.
It's perfect.
You done did it, man.
Hey, I want to thank you so much for coming on here. Thank you so much.
I'll tell you something. You're young brothers, man. Mm-hmm. You guys are the future, man. Go get it. As we say in football, go get it. Mm-hmm. Go get it, man. Let's go. And you guys got what it takes. You got it. Mm-hmm. You just got to go get it. Right. Decide in your heart and your mind that you already got it. Mm-hmm. Did you hear what I just said?
Decide in your heart and mind that you already got it.
You already got it. But now you got to do what?
You got to go get it.
Now you got to go get it. Mm-hmm. You got it, but you still got to go get it.
Right. Mm-hmm.
That's what makes it fun.
Exactly.
Unless you want it to be given to you. And there are going to be people all around you guys that had that mentality. They wanted to be given to them. Mm-hmm. You know that you already have it. Go get it.
Well, this is the Voices of Madison Park.
Hey.
And after this great conversation with my brother over here, this is I don't even know how to say.
I'm kind of speechless. But to close it out, I want to thank y'all for tuning into this episode. Mm-hmm. And hope y'all enjoyed our guest, man.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm Steven.
And I'm Zamil. Everyone have a great day.
Thank you. Peace out.
Take care.